Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So we come up to Labor Day next week, and I take it. Don't quote me on this, but I take it Labor Day is apparently an anniversary of some kind of labor movement event at some point in our history, and that's why we celebrate Labor Day every year. And don't get me wrong, labor unions definitely do have things to say, right? I won't say it's good or bad, but uh, don't get me wrong, they are humans too. And there are other holidays that we commiserate or commemorate, depending on how you want to view it, right? We come up to the holiday season in a few more months: Thanksgiving, Christmas. Some people celebrate Yom Kippur as well. But I want to say that I think it's inefficient that we have federal holidays like that, and here's why. I noticed this when I was in sixth grade. Actually, I would get all excited and geared up for a Labor Day or a Thanksgiving or some other holiday, right? I mean, I was in sixth grade. Who wouldn't want to be let out of school? The holiday would come, and I would quickly realize that there wasn't much I could do. My favorite restaurant would either, depending on the restaurant, would either be closed or they would be packed, right? You couldn't travel very easily. The highways would be packed, or if you were taking a flight, the flight would be much more expensive. I had a favorite theme park. I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We had Kennywood theme park there, and it would be packed, right? You would have to wait 3 hours for your favorite ride. Wouldn't be the best day to go to Kennywood on a holiday like that, if they were even open. I can't remember the details, but you get the idea, right? And it made me think, what if we took our holidays on different days of the year, right? After all, it's the day off that I want. It's not necessarily the specific day, right? Even if I did want to celebrate our labor union movement, it doesn't have, not everybody has to celebrate on the very same day, right? And the same thing with Thanksgiving, right? I can give thanks at any day of the year I wanted to, right? And it just made me think, why do we have to celebrate the now? One day holidays like that are not the end of the world. After all, you can still use a 3 day weekend, even if you can't go to your favorite restaurant. The real drama happens when we have these entire weeks off. Like I teach at a community college, and we often have like a week or sometimes 2 weeks off in between semesters, and that really destroys me for two reasons. Number one, the rest of the year I'm working my tail off. It's an insult to have all those breaks be together like that and for everything to grind to a halt. When the rest of the year you feel like you're flying apart, right? It's kind of like a binge eating kind of mentality, right? Binge and purge, binge and purge. I really feel like my work has become like that, right? And if it's unhealthy to do with food, I think it's equally unhealthy to do with work, right? So I hope you will petition to get rid of that by leaving a dislike on this video. But at least Labor Day doesn't behave like that. 3 day weekends are okay with me. More than three, it's usually a big problem. And so I hope we will put. Now, what would I do if I had it my way? I'd get rid of all these holidays and just add that many personal days, right? So when would I take off? Well, I love viewing solar and lunar eclipses. We usually have at least two or three of them every year. And another thing I might do is celebrate various anniversaries. So June 13th of 2010, I had just broken up with a very out of a very toxic relationship, actually, and I was scared to death. But after I broke up with her, I decided to go out, even though I didn't have a girl to go out with, and I had the best time of my life. Right, so that's become a very big anniversary for me. On December 8th of 2011, I wrote my very first computer game. It was an AI for the game of Othello. On August, in 2 more days, we'll have the anniversary. August 29, 2022, I poured my very first bismuth crystal. And so those have become very big anniversaries in my life. Now, when I go out on those days, I'm not going to be fighting a huge crowd. Right? No, not very many people are going to share those anniversaries. with me, right? Certainly other people may have other anniversaries on that day, but it's random, right? One out of every 365 wedding anniversaries are going to be on one of those days, right? And so I can actually do things that I like to do. I won't be fighting the crowd. I also won't be fighting with my colleagues for taking that day off, right? Those are very personalized days, right? The whole office sometimes goes into chaos when we have a Labor Day, right? It won't happen with these personal anniversaries. And also, I think the fact that it's a federal holiday kind of violates some constitution, right? Our separation of the state and the church, right? And it's inefficient regardless, right? So I hope you will join me by petitioning that we get. I think the part of the problem is that people worry that if we got rid of these federal holidays, we won't have other time off to make up for it, right? I think that's the big worry. So feel free to leave a comment if you have any suggestions on how to make this work, right? I think people like it. They don't know how to get from here to there. I think that's the big problem. That's a lot of a lot of political problems are like that, right? People like the end goal. It's getting there that might be the tricky part of it, right? So feel free to leave a comment if you have suggestions for that. This is the Meter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.